Hello, welcome to another review of Drones Visual. Today I'll bring you the unboxing and the maiden flight of a new quad from XK, the X252. I had not previously tested any of their aircraft until now. I have over here the XK X252 and also the XK X251, but I'll start by taking a look at the XK X252, as I believe there's not much information about it on the internet. I'll first do an unboxing, go over all the components inside the box in detail. Then we will go outside and do a bit of flying, see how it performs. We'll also take a look at the footage recorded by the onboard camera and the FPV transmission. The XK X252 can be considered a 250 size quadcopter, and it seems to be made for a sort of a sporty flying style. So okay, now let's take a look at the components inside the box. The first thing we'll find inside the box is this very simple balance charger. You can see the balance port over here, and then you have basically two LEDs here that will tell you when the charging process has concluded. Then of course on the side here we have a connector for the adapter or power supply that I will show you now in a moment. This over here is the adapter or power supply, very standard thing. Just plug one end on the wall and then the other end to the connector. I'll just show you here how to do it, just in case you've never seen one. Then we have the battery. This is a 2S 7.4 volts battery with a capacity of 950 milliamps. And as you can see, it's a proprietary battery. So basically, it will only fit this quadcopter. Here on the top, you have some connectors. They're properly labeled, plus and minus. So I think you will have no troubles at all, figuring out the polarity of this battery. But you won't be able to use other batteries. And if you were wondering how I was going to connect this battery and the balance charger, well, here's the answer. This that you can see over here, it's an adapter that comes included. On one end, there you have the connectors for the battery, and the other end you have the balance plug. And basically what you do is insert the adapter in the battery, or I mean, you insert the battery in the adapter, I'd rather say that. And once it's done, basically you can then go ahead and plug it into the balance charger and charge your battery like any other battery. And some of you might be happy with this, some of you obviously won't like the fact that this battery can only be used with this quad, so you cannot use any other batteries. Here we have the FPV screen now, and the FPV screen, I'm not quite sure now about the resolution. And you have a male connector for the antenna that also comes included, and I will show it to you in a moment. And then on the rear of the screen, we can find the channel selector where you can adjust the frequency using a tiny tool, or maybe your nails if they're long enough. Then on the other side, here on the screen, on the side of the screen, we will find a switch to turn on or off the screen. I still don't have information although about the battery inside the screen, but I will update you later. This, what you can see here at the base, is the mount that will insert in a holder or a mount that you can find on the transmitter. And of course, you can adjust the angle of the screen easily. Then this is a shade that comes with the screen. In case you're flying in a bright day, you can obviously use that, and it can be easily folded for transportation. Then on the lower part of the screen, you will find a tiny connector to charge the battery of the screen, or the monitor. You can actually charge it through a USB connector, this USB connector that you can see over here. So you can basically grab your power bank and charge it on the go. Let me connect it here so you can see how it goes. Really tiny connector. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and place the antenna on the screen. Really easy. You can also fold the antenna in case it's taking too much space. And now let's proceed to power on the screen and see what we get. As you can see, you will see a black screen when there's no signal. So there's no white noise, just a black screen. But I mean, you should not expect a lot from this screen. You don't get white noise, but well. Here we have the transmitter from transmitters from XK. They look pretty nice, and they allow you to modify quite some parameters depending on what aircraft you're flying. And this is the mount that I was referring before, where you place the FPV screen. Then if we take a look at the rear section of the mount, we will see that it's kept in place by two screws here at the upper section, and then the lower section inserts into the transmitter. If we take a look at the switches, the red one I believe is to activate the camera for recording, although I don't have the manual right here with me. Then the next switch here, I guess, is to switch between 6G stabilized mode or 3G, which you will need to do a lot more work in 3G to keep the quad level. And then up here, it might be the switch to do a switch to 3D flying. I'm not quite sure, but I think so. Then the switch here on the top right corner, this one here controls the dual rate, and you should be able to do some adjustments in the settings, in the menu for your preference, depending on your preference. And up here you have basically the throttle hold, or a switch basically to kill your motors. If we move to the lower section, we have some navigation buttons that will allow you to go through the settings and menu and so on. And then on the other side, what you can find is a dial. It's pretty handy. I guess you could also navigate or switch between options using the dial and then press this central button to confirm. If we move then to the rear section, we'll take a look at the battery compartment, and as you can see, this transmitter can use 6 AA batteries. I still don't understand why manufacturers are not basically using LiPos. And then this seems to be a trainer port to connect the transmitter to your PC and use it with a simulator. Then here we have the power switch, and then basically the trims. In case you have a drift or something like that, you can adjust it with the trims. This little box that you can see over here is a card reader, and it will come handy, as this quadcopter comes with a 4GB memory card included. That should allow you to record plenty of HD videos. We also have a screwdriver and a hexa key, just in case you need to change your props or need to secure some screws or anything like that. And then I have been told that there will be 4 props included, although these props actually are not from this quad, they're from the 251, as I didn't get any props at all. And then we have the X252 here with a very peculiar design, with a couple of large LEDs on the front section, and then the arms, they seem to be a little bit tilted upwards. You can see that the motors are sort of protected by this plastic, not much protection though. And then here in the front section we have the big front LEDs, which should be handy when flying in the evening. And then in the center we have the FPV camera, with I think it's an HD camera with a view angle of 140 degrees. Nice for flying FPV. And then on the lower section of the quad we have a few ventilation ducts that might help cool down the internal components of this quad. And we can find the same ventilation ducts on the upper section. Some airflow will flow through these actually when the quad is flying, I guess. And then you have the props. They're very thin, but not as thin as the one from the X251. And here you can get an overall view of the quad seen from above. I just want to make sure you visualize it from every angle, and some people like to see what they're getting. Right under the camera you'll find the slot to insert the memory card. As you saw before, the card included with the quad has a capacity of 4 GB. You can see it right here. And now let's go and proceed to insert the card. It's pretty easy. The card needs to be facing the label, facing upwards. You just press it in and you'll hear a click, and when you hear the click, you're good to go. Right under the card slot, there's this sort of, it seems to be like an LED indicator. Maybe it flashes when the card is being used, not quite sure. And then you don't really have a landing gear, but you have these sort of rubber cushions over here that would basically help a little bit, I guess, when landing. You have the same rubber cushions here on the lower section, and yeah, that's basically your landing gear. Then also on the lower section there are a few other ventilation openings. I assume that these ones might cool down the FPV transmitter. That should be around that area. There are also on the other side is this tiny little opening here, not quite sure what is it for. And then if we take a look at the arms, we will notice that there are 6 screws on each arm. That makes then 24 screws, and then on the body you will find these 2 over here. And if we move to the center and lower section, we will find 4 other screws, so that makes like around 30 screws. So you might need to do actually some work to open it, but well. And here you can take a look at the interior of the battery compartment. This is, you saw there the battery connectors, and then you can see a connector going down from the main circuit board to the camera, or maybe the FPV transmitter as well. Then of course each arm has LED lights that will help you flying during the evening. Very minimalistic design. Here only a very slim tiny line. And we will see how these lights look when we power the quad. Now you saw that I'm inserting the battery right here, and basically you just need to push in, and then you will hear a click, and you will hear the beeping sound of the quadcopter as it turns on, and then you're good to go. Now I turn off the lights so you can see better the LED lights on the quad. At this moment the front lights are blue and the rear lights are green. And now you can see here the front section, the big LEDs that you probably see coming in the evening if the quadcopter is flying towards you. Now that the lights are off, let's use the opportunity to take a look at the FPV display. The thing is that with the lights I get a lot of reflection from the monitor, so it's better just to turn off the lights. It takes a few seconds from the moment you power the quad for the signal to kick in. It's nice to have these front lights now in the darkness. Let's proceed now to move a little bit the quad to see what happens. You can see immediately the image in the screen starts to change, and the quality of the image seems to be alright. We'll see more about that later when we go out and fly, but so far it looks alright. I mean, not bad. It's kind of like a ghost movie or something. And now I'm outside, and you can compare the XK X252 with the 251, and you can see that they're quite similar in size. However, the arms of the X252 are slightly tilted upwards, and the motors also differ considerably in terms of design. Also, I'm afraid that the X252 seems rather fragile, and there'll be a lot of stress on the areas where the arms meet the body. But only time will tell whether it can actually take a few crashers. Here you can contrast it with the Lizam 280, an FPV Razor. To show you the quality of the transmission, I have placed a camera here in front of the FPV screen. It is a very bright day today and there will be a lot of reflection, but well, there's not much I can really do about that, so I hope you bear with me. Okay, now let's take off and see how the XK X252 flies. I'll be using the 6G mode. Don't really want to risk smashing this little fellow during its maiden flight, but as you all know, you can remove the gyro stabilization in the 3G mode for a way more aggressive flying style. Today is a little bit windy, but I guess it's a good opportunity to see how it handles the wind. After all, in some countries wind prevails through most of the year. Because it is so light, the wind kind of, you can see that it's pushing it a bit right now, so it's kind of hard to keep it 100% still in front of the camera. But let's go ahead and push it forward, see whether it does a better job. And yeah, I mean, it certainly packs a bit of power. It's certainly not slow, but it's neither mind-blowing or anything like that. It does much better now though. It seems like the wind is not affecting it much. Here we can take a look at the FPV screen, lots of reflection, but I hope you can still see the flying through it. There's not much of a flickering or anything like that, but that might be because I'm flying obviously at a very short range. So there was a quick loss of signal at some point, and that is because I placed the FPV screen behind a wall. So when the quad is actually on the other side of the wall, I lose signal for a moment. And it did happen a few times, but I'm pretty sure the reason was that wall, because I got the screen basically placed against the wall. Now here you can see some footage recorded using the onboard camera of the quadcopter. This footage is 720p, so I had to stretch it to Full HD while rendering this video. Nonetheless, I think the quality is better than I expected. Initially, I thought that the quality would be horrible, like really bad. But I feel alright about this quality. Not sure whether all of you will agree with me, but I feel it's not bad quality. So far, the 6G mode feels really nice, though the quad does not accelerate super fast. I mean, once it gains a bit of momentum, it can actually fly very fast. Also, the fact that it's so light, it might actually help you squeeze longer flight times out of it. It could also turn out to be a very nice entry-level FPV quad. I think for beginners using this one with a little E-Chain FPV goggles, it could provide a nice experience. If you're flying on line of sight, don't take it too far, because at some point it's very hard to spot it. I mean, so you will risk losing orientation. And again, this is not the quad you really want to crash, because it's basically just plastic with no frame or to withstand the force of an impact. Then if you guys feel confident enough, you could go ahead and try the 3G mode and the 3D, and I'm sure this little fellow can pull some nice stunts, although I will leave that for later videos. I'll try to get used first to do some more flying, see how it can handle how it can handle minor crashes and so on. And I will later also check how it compares to the XK251, which I guess many of you already tried. You can see that the XK X252 is right there waiting, 51 is right there waiting eagerly to take off and fly with his brother. But yeah, no doubt that this little fellow, it's agile indeed. It just needs a little bit more of thrust because it feels that it's more responsive than fast. But then again, who knows, it will maybe transform and turn into a beast when you tweak a little bit the settings in a transmitter. Anyway, I will go ahead and conclude my review now. Let me share my opinion in the meanwhile, at least until now. What I like about the XK X252 is the fact that it comes FPV ready with an onboard camera capable of recording HD video with an acceptable quality. I need to test further the FPV capabilities, but so far, here at close range, no problems. The quad is also very light, and I managed to squeeze around 8 minutes, I think, of flying time out of it. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, you can enjoy flying the X252 as it offers 3D flying and also the 6G mode in case you're a beginner. Although I didn't test the sort of acro or aggressive mode yet. What I didn't like as much is that you get, well, a black screen when you lose signal instead of a white noise. And the quad also seems rather fragile, especially in the area where the arms meet the body. I'm just a little bit afraid that it won't handle crashes very well. I believe the current price is kind of around 180 bucks. Not too bad, considering that it comes with all you need to fly FPV. And then it comes packed with brushless motors, and well, it offers you, to fly 3D and do all kind of aerobatics and stuff like that. Personally, though, I might still go for an FPV racer, for an actual FPV racer. But then again, this is obviously a matter of choice to many of you. So I hope you find my review interesting. If you did, please just give me a thumbs up and leave me some comments. Also, if you're interested in the topic of quads, don't hesitate and subscribe to my channel for the latest news and reviews directly from China. I will be soon coming with my second part of the review of the Jew Hornet S. And then I probably will be working also a little bit on the Eachine Falcon 180. And then I have a big surprise that I would like to show you this week. So stay tuned for more news, and I hope to see you all in my next video.